Polygamy, an abomination and whoredom, or the celestial law of marriage? Does God contradict himself? D&C 132 claims God justified biblical men like David and Solomon to have many wives and concubines. Not just that this was justified, but it was the law of the priesthood in the new and everlasting covenant. It teaches that if anyone is taught this law and rejects it, they will be damned and cannot enter his glory. However, the Book of Mormon makes it abundantly clear that God's law is monogamy. Not only that, but it warns specifically against wicked men misunderstanding the scriptures about David and Solomon to justify these whoredoms. Not only is it easy to read the Old Testament and see that David and Solomon were wicked, ungodly men, but Jacob 2:24 irrefutably proves that their many wives and concubines were an abomination, and he will not suffer that his people make the same mistakes as these men of old. Can an abomination and whoredom also be justified and required in the highest level of heaven? D&C 132:1 says that God not only justified men to have many wives, but concubines as well. Do you know what a concubine is? A concubine is a woman's servant, a slave. She was owned by a woman, therefore owned by her husband, and sometimes allowed by the woman to give her husband more children. Just like Hagar, Sarah's servant, who Sarah suggested to Abraham to use as her surrogate to give her children when she couldn't have her own. It was Sarah's idea, not a commandment from God. So a female servant who was second class with no rights used for bearing children, therefore a slave. And D&C claims that this is part of the holy law of the priesthood and the new and everlasting covenant. This is false doctrine and has been taught publicly since Brigham Young introduced it in 1852. It's said to be a revelation from Joseph Smith received from God and practiced in secret, despite Joseph publicly denouncing the practice of polygamy and excommunicating members for it and preaching against it, even up to the week he died. So to believe that Joseph Smith was the prophet of the Restoration, and to believe that he practiced polygamy in secret, is to believe that he was a hypocritical liar, or that God commanded secrecy, even though he works not in darkness. Brigham taught that they should lie for the Lord, but God condemns bearing false witness. Just as the church teaches Joseph was inspired by James 1:5 and suggests we do the same, to ask God with full sincerity of heart, knowing that God will answer, I have prayed to know for myself regarding this doctrine. Polygamy has no place in the gospel of Jesus Christ. I believe anyone who asks with sincerity to learn truth and not seeking confirmation of their pre-existing beliefs can receive an answer to this daunting question.